Alright, now we need to share it.
Hi, my name is Grayson. I'm with Vantage. We're now hiring for our upcoming summer sales team. Swipe up to apply.
Wait,
What's
now
that
it says,
number on
oh, you can't text it, can you?
Don't miss your chance to earn 15,000 in one summer.
I got 15,000. Come here.
What?
You just start going like Southern announcer on it, like auctioneer.
God damn it.
Okay, no, I just copied this. What's the fastest way to send it to my phone?
I bet I could just type it out.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Nothing. What are you doing?
You know.
HTTPS
Wasn't ready.
//
Is this us right now? Do we have likes? Do we have viewers? Do we have followers? Are we famous yet? Are we Grant Cardone? Hey, my buddy was FaceTiming Grant Cardone the other day.
Why?
He's like a big time entrepreneur guy,
Yeah.
but he's my age. And yeah, he posted on his Instagram story of him and Grant Cardone just talking back and forth and stuff. I was like, what the crap? It was so weird.
Okay.
I'll have to try to find if he like posted it or something.
Fake news.
Look.
You sent it to me.
It's yours. Download.
Want me to check?
Yeah. I might need to capitalize it, I guess.
I've got a guy from Mark Bitter, by the way.
You have a guy for Mark Fitter?
Yeah. Do you think he'll be able to?
Yeah.
For Boise? He just can't leave Boise because he has to take care of sheep in the morning and at night. But he was like, no, I mean, like, I love this job. I just can't leave for it. Like,
Just keep saying Arlo. I think I like typed it in right.
Wait. Are we starting?
We're live.
Yeah.
Everybody looking at my nose. On the side.
U2.B JKUOK GZQLX. Yeah, no, like I definitely spelled it already. I guess besides the capital H at the beginning.
I think you can mail it to yourself.
You need a laptop to do it?
Westmore is 26.
Email it to me.
I thought YouTube was like good.
I thought my MacBook was too.
So we're doing Instagram live.
Not a bad idea.
Just everyone,
I was actually
all of your
thinking of-
followers are like watching us.
I was thinking of doing Facebook Live.
Snapchat, right? Just put on your story.
Is that it?
Yeah.
How'd that work? Oh, you have to email it? Message that to my phone, see if it works the same way now.
Oh, 69.
And so that's what it's going on here. Yeah.
Like we do.
So,
Who's that? Very first member hung out with
wait, which one is straight? That one's really
Let's show
What'd you say? Show the TV pretty well.
probably won't be able to.
It's just such a weird angle. Do you have anything to like a little stool?
Okay, was it 4? Something might happen.
Where's that?
Is it muted?
Can you guys hear now? Where's the guy?
All right, they can hear. All right, guys, bring it in. Let's go ahead and get started. Cool. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. A bunch of dudes here. I don't know. I'm Wes. I'm the regional manager. Yeah.
That's me. Yeah, that's Wes. I'm Grayson, manager of LA Central. Been doing it for 3 years now, and it's been awesome.
John, as previously stated, going same office, going for my 3rd year.
How about you, man?
I'm Parker.
Yeah. Okay, which officer you go for?
LA.
LA.
Yeah, I'm Jeff, LA. Cool. Jordan, ditto.
Ty.
Sunshine.
Corbin, going to LA.
I think everybody might be in LA.
LA.
What's your name?
Dexter.
Dexter.
I'm just gonna leave right now. I'm Mark, LA. Justin, LA. Blaze, LA.
Marcus, LA. Awesome. So we got the LA crowd here tonight. Cool. So I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret of pest control. There's no magic wand that can eliminate every bug forever, which is a really good thing for us. So one thing to keep in mind as we're selling the service, pest control is an ongoing service. And you'll get this all the time on the doors of someone that's like, oh yeah, I got sprayed last year, we're good. It doesn't quite work that way. You need to be sprayed every other month or every 3 months at the biggest interval. And some pests are going to be killed immediately upon the initial treatment. But there's a lot of pests that are going to take multiple treatments to fully control. Roaches being one of them. Ants inside often being one of them. Wasps are really hard to keep from coming back, so oftentimes we're coming after them. So something I always like to address in the first training, we offer a guarantee for pest control. We guarantee that you're not going to have pest issues. What that means isn't that they'll never see another bug. What it does mean is that when they do see activity, and if it pops up in between our regularly scheduled visits, they can call us and then we're going to come back out for free, retreat the home for free, and then that's part of the warranty too. So a couple things about what we do. This will be recap for some of you guys, but it's always really good to have the refresher. Grayson, do you want to cover the base treatment?
Yeah. So basically, you want to give them a visual idea of all this stuff, right? Base treatment is literally the basic of pest control. Most companies are going to do some type of variation of it. So most companies are going to go a foot up and a foot out, and this is on the outside of the home, all the way around the cracks, around the outside. What we do, Terminex or Insight, doesn't matter which one you're selling for, we go 3 feet up on the actual house and then 3 feet out around the entire home, like I was talking about there. So you want to give them a visualization, right? You don't want to just kind of talk about it. You show them. You get on your knees right here, go 3 feet up, 3 feet out, stand back up, talk to them. It's like a moat around your castle, right? So that's kind of the way you visualize it for them. They can see keeping the bugs out, and that's for the smaller stuff like ants, maybe black widows around the base. And then it's going to help for the cockroaches, anything like that. If you guys are all in LA, so their vents are on the bottom of the home, so it helps a ton making sure stuff isn't getting underneath the house there or anything like that. But yeah, that's basically it. Cool. Pretty simple stuff there.
John, do you want to explain exterior granulation?
Yeah, so the granulation, it's just like the next step of our base spray, and it's one that is really going to differentiate us from other companies. Because like Grayson mentioned, that other one, every company is going to do some variation upon it. The granulation is the next 10 to 15 feet, depending on which office you're in, mainly focusing in the mulch beds. the mulch beds around the home are the biggest breeding grounds for any of these bugs. The granule is pretty cool because it's water activated, and as the technician puts it there, it's going to embed in the ground and mesh with it and last for 90 days. It's going to take care of any satellite nests and just keep that grass clear and the mulch beds further out from their home. A few things that you can say: it looks like a fertilizer spreader, and I like to actually act like I'm doing it. And then it's always good to mention that it's water activated so that they don't think as soon as rain comes or they water their lawn, it's going to go away. It actually strengthens it.
Tight. All right, exterior dewebbing. Blaze, hit me with it.
Go there.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
dudes on the
run on
camera
up.
can see you.
Famous Blaze.
Dude, you got 8 viewers, bro.
Live
You're
stream,
the
ninja.
most popular streamer.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the de-webbing is just, I like to call it just a giant Q-tip, something like that. It's just like a 20-foot pole, because sometimes it only extends to 15 feet, whatever office you're in, kind of. But yeah, we basically just de-web like window frames, door frames, like all up on the eaves and things like that. I like showing them the slick because it has a nice picture of it and stuff. I'm like all the orange spots, whatever. You want to act it out. We're going to knock down all the hornet's nest, cobwebs, things like that. And I don't know if they're leaving a product on the end of the thing that erases a pheromone track. That's what I like to say, but I don't. Anyway, so yeah, just say that. We leave a product on the end of that Q-tip looking thing, pom-pom, whatever. And it's going to block any pheromones to keep those hornet's nests from coming back, or the spiders, whatever. So yeah.
It varies branch to branch which one to put the dust up in the eaves. It doesn't make a huge difference, honestly. It doesn't last very long or anything like that, maybe a couple weeks. But what it does do is it flushes them off the home really, really quickly. So that way, if there's any in the cracks, it's taking care of them. So that's kind of where the dust comes in. It's not a huge thing that anyone's going to buy off of just that, right? So that's kind of what he's talking about.
Oh. And then Zach, why don't you come explain the interior crack and crevice?
Okay. So the way I always say this, the J pipe under the sink, there's a little rubber seal right where that meets into the wall void. What we do, we just pop that back. We use something like a WD-40 can. I'm not sure if that's up there, but we stick the straw and we puff some dust into the wall void. That's gonna bait those bugs in, and then as they move through it, they're gonna pick it up on their hair follicles, and then they'll track it throughout the home back to their nest, and it'll spread throughout the nest. It's gonna flush it out of the home completely. And then it's a dust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll be using the duster, and then there's another picture of something like that. But yeah, and it doesn't smell or leave any stains.
Cool. So there's a couple things to always keep in mind with interior treatments. It rarely needs to be done after the initial. So for the most part, we're going to treat the interior on the first treatment. And pretty rarely will they ever need it after that, because everything we do outside of the home is going to maintain that and keep everything just completely pushed off. On the inside, however, every interior treatment is different. There's a million ways to build a house. There's houses that were built in 1920, and there's houses that were built this year. And the way you treat those are going to be super different from each other. So the house that was built in 1920, they're going to need an interior spray, along with the interior dust, along with gel treatments, along with baits underneath the sink to control pests. Because the more a home is settled, the more cracks and crevices there are as the house settles, the easier it is for bugs to come up in. On a brand new house, there's a 90% chance that they don't need the interior treatment. Of course, we're still going to do it each time we come out on an initial, but they probably actually don't even need it. Their house is going to be pretty airtight. And so when we service the outside, it's going to keep anything from coming up in that is trying to escape from the heat. It's going to be already locked on the outside. So one thing to keep in mind, be semi-vague when describing an interior treatment, because the technician will do whatever is actually best for the home, and he knows that a lot better than we do. So you can always say we'll put dust inside the walls, but above that, you don't want to say much, because some houses don't need it. And if you promise something and the technician doesn't do it, you're actually the one disappointed the customer, not the tech, because the tech did exactly what he needed to do to make sure that the house was pest free. Do we have any questions up to this point?
If you have questions, definitely ask.
Yeah, pop 'em
And
out.
if someone else is thinking it, if you're thinking it, we probably missed something.
There's no such thing as a dumb question. You're kind of is, but I don't think you'll ask. Okay, cool. So I kind of want to bust into this. Hopefully you guys have this memorized. You should. If you don't, get it memorized ASAP. You're going to say it on every single door that you ever knock the entire summer. And I want to focus, obviously you got to focus on what you say, but 93% of your communication with these potential customers is going to come through body language and then what we call metaverbal. So how you say what you say. And so I want us all to hop up and role play that. If you're live streaming in, role play it to a mirror. Might be a little funky, but do what you got to do. Record it, send it to me or Preston. Hop up and grab a partner. And there's a couple things that I want you to focus on. Real quick, I'm Wes. I'm out here with Insight. You'll have your logo on your left, like upper breast on your shirt. I'm Wes out here with Insight, and then Looking Point. I'm sure you've seen my trucks going up and down the streets in your neighborhood. And it's super important to nod your head and say, I'm sure, not ask. Have you seen my trucks out here? Because I'll always say no if you say that. If you say, I'm sure you've seen my guy doing your neighbors, you're going to get them into more of an agreement mode. They'll kind of look obnoxious, like, yeah, you seen them? Shake your head off. It's mainly been for those little ants that everyone's seen popping up, along with some of the wasps and spiders up in the eaves. If you can get done either today or tomorrow while I'm doing the rest of the neighborhood, I can get you done for super cheap. And I want you guys to over-exaggerate. You should sound absolutely ridiculous in role plays because once you get on the doors, you're naturally going to speed up. You're going to be a little bit nervous. So in a role play, if you over-exaggerate and kind of like look maybe a little foolish, sound a little foolish, that's a good thing. That's where you should be while you're practicing because once you get to the doors, it's going to be a whole different story. You're going to speed it up and you're not going to exaggerate. It's actually going to be pretty close to spot on. So let's hop up. I wanted to role play this. I'm going to go around the room. Me and Grayson, we're going to go around the room and give pointers, kind of help you guys in certain spots. If you're experienced, I want you to pair up with someone who hasn't sold before. Give them a couple of your pointers. But for experienced reps, helping the guys, make sure that like over-exaggerate and sound kind of ridiculous while they're doing it. All right? Cool. So let's pop up about 10 minutes. And again, if you're on the live stream, record yourself and send it to me or Preston or Grayson or any of the other managers.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jordan.
Hey, Justin.
I'm sure you've
Kevin.
seen my trucks all going down the street. Treating those ants, the wasps that spiders that run the eaves.
I'm sure you've seen my trucks.
Yeah, if you sign up today, I can get your house treated.
Okay, so follow it a little bit more. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, yeah,
Word for word. Sign up is a really like negative thing to say because like it instantly implies that you're like, you know, when they think of sign up, they're like, oh, contract, they're gonna do up all that. So it says if you can get serviced today or tomorrow. So you're saying the same thing, just in like a less like smack in the mouth kind of way. That makes sense. So if you don't have them down word for word, just read it straight off the thing and tell them for sure how good you are, so you don't like wing it.
real quick, I'm Jeff. Pretty bunch of neighbors' homes. You probably seen my truck driving down the streets. It's mainly for those ants that are from the stations. You can get it done for about 5 to 6 out here. You guys in service are real cheap. Yeah, so one thing is just use your body a lot, and then you're gonna have a bunch of bugs on just, you know.
Don't got no reason to lie. They keep me the key to the but I'd rather open my eyes. Don't keep me alive. Something that's do not fuck up my day. Everybody on that headline. Don't got nothing to say. I'm coming here for the Christmas. You know I love making the entrance. Now they out for the fence. I'm gotta upset I'm only keeping good company. I'm not talking to you if you don't have love for me. Yeah. Want to do what I want. Yeah, I'm not talking to you if you don't have love. Yeah, wow, do not touch that down. I'm like, little brown, just like all the mouth, you gon' hear me out. And I'm just jumping fuck around every summer wild. Always like a jumping at the house. I'm in the having it all. Feeling like shit with the kid. Catch you with me. Rolling with the homies. The battles we do. My thoughts. Fuck with my thoughts. Having to defend a lot. Looking and checking the box. Straight to the top. It don't matter. Never mind the pattern when you click it. Bullshit. Enough with the bullshit. Enough of the extras. Fuck up my money. That's what I've been pulling. Fuck up the losing. That's just the losing. Gotta keep it back and forth, keep it moving. Yeah, I'm only keeping good company. I'm not talking to you if you don't have love for me. Yeah, want to do what I want for me. I'm not talking to you if you don't have love for me.
All right, everybody. I want you to pause just right where you're at for a second. So we're gonna switch this up a little bit now. So you've got your partner and you. So I want one of the partners to do all of the body language. All right. So you don't say any of the words. So it's like Wes out here servicing your neighbors, but you don't say any of the words. And then the partner is gonna say all the words using metaverbals and verbals dead credit. Let's do it. I'll give you guys a little example here what we're doing.
Am I the word guy? Am I saying
Which you pick? I want to be the word guy. All right.
Hey, my name is Wes with Insight. We're treating a bunch of your neighbors over here. You've probably seen our trucks. It's mainly been for a couple of those ants, a few of the wasps and spiders that have been popping up. Mainly around the base of the home. If you can get it done while we're treating your neighbors today and tomorrow, we're doing it for super cheap.
Boom. Just like that, all right? So you got to really crank in the body language. And then if you're the partner doing the words, keep the metaverbals in. The way you say your words is 38% of your communication. That's like, what is that, 4/10, 2/5, whatever you want to do. That's what I was good at practicing. Who's in college still? Good. All right. So, there you go. So, make sure you're putting a lot of emphasis in your metaverbals. And then body language is over half of your communication. So whoever's doing body language, use emotion for everything that you say. It'll help convey your meaning really, really well. So let's keep going. I actually want everybody to switch up and snag a new partner, someone they don't know that well. Again, I want the experienced reps with the first years as much as possible. And let's go through this again. So if you don't know somebody, just walk up to them right now. Introduce yourself.
Noah, can you grab the charger? Guys at home, just focus on body language, basically. Overemphasize body language. Oh, that's less telepathy right there. We guys think the same thing. I know the intro, so that's why I switched it up, dude. You didn't know that. It was like around the face.
Like, just do it. Life's different. Look around me, baby. All you see is cash. Look who's laughing at it. Always used to laugh. Look who's winning it. Breaking from the past. Just go. Just go. I just made $1 million in trees. I just bought my mama a car for cash. I told her something. Okay, but I told me that she was to me. And I was running, fucking for me. I did. That's my loss when I'm feeling like I'm lost. I told my mama, you gotta stop and go. All you see is cash. Look who's laughing at me. Always used to laugh. Look who's winning it. Drinking from your past. Just so much money. I've been trying to see X games. You're right. Set page, fantasy world. All you see is always used to laugh. Look who's winning it, waiting from your past. Just just a young gun with the quick view. I was tired, wanna let loose. I'm dreaming of big things. Wanna leave my own life. Not a problem. Yeah, it's a good number. I was like, before the sun. He's been laughing in my classes, and I was scheming for the mess. Who do you think you are? Dream about being a big star. Say you keep cheating on my back. In the backseat,
All right, guys. Pause right where you're at. We're gonna do this one more way. So now you're gonna be the rep, and you're gonna say the words, and you're gonna hold your hands behind your back, so you're forced to not do like any body language, and just emphasize your words like overabundant, like ridiculous. Like if I come around and you don't sound ridiculous, dude, I'm just gonna take you out. So just like I'm Wes out here with Insight. We're doing a ton of your neighbors' homes, and if you can get done either today or tomorrow, I can do it for super cheap. So like, how ridiculous does that sound? Pretty ridiculous, right? Okay, that's what I want you guys to do. So pop out of your shell a little bit. Quit being shy. We're all sounding ridiculous together. And pop out some of those good meta verbals so you can sell more accounts. I'll turn the music up so you can't be singled out.
Louder, Mark, louder.
Louder, Mark! Louder, sunshine.
We're treating those pests as and the
Louder, bro. You're not loud yet. All right, guys, bring it back in. Good work. Good work. If someone could do a Michael Strand, that's the same. My name's no secret to it. How about this? Yeah. This is why Zach sold. All right, guys, bring it in. Bring it in. Good work. Okay. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? Cool. So, you guys are progressing pretty well. Damn, that is one perfect circle. All right. How much percent does body language make up of all your communication? 38. Close. That's metaverbals. 56. Close. It's 55. Oh, Johnny, you know this. So 30.
My math's bad, okay? Jesus.
55% body language, and then verbal is 7%.
Does that even equal 100?
Do you even math?
No.
All right then. That it does equal 100. No. Verbal is 7%. What does that tell you about verbal?
Very
Say that again.
very important.
It's very important. So it's such a small part that your words have to be exactly perfect when you're communicating with a customer. You shouldn't ever deviate from that until you're about a week or two into the summer. And when you deviate, you're going to change one or two words. I've seen so many guys go out and change the words because they think that they're getting rejected too fast with this. So they go off onto their own opener that lasts a minute long. It really just is going to confuse the customer. The words you say are so crucial. We're giving you this because we know for a fact that it works. We know for a fact that if you use it, you're going to go out and average 183 accounts. That's what we averaged last summer as a company. I know for a fact if you go out there and say that all summer, you're going to sell a lot of accounts and make a lot of money. I also know for a fact that if you change it very much from that you're not going to make that much money at all. So it's super important to stick to the words. And then between your body language and your metaverbal communication, that makes up for 93% of your communication. So make sure that when you're using your body language is good. You're always pointing. You want to show the customers and more or less kind of like tell the story with your body a lot more so than with your words. Your words should usually be pretty minimal. An average sale will take 8 to 10 minutes. It's short. You're not dragging out everything. You want to keep it short. You want to keep it that way. And then metaverbals. What are different ways to use metaverbals? John? Speed. Okay, Grayson.
How enthusiastic you are, emphasizing words.
Cool. Zach.
Pitch.
Okay. Sunshine. Pauses. Volume is another big one. Did you say volume?
No. John can't remember what you said.
I was like, shit, I know I said something.
So, there's lots of ways to incorporate different types of metaverbals. A pause is one of the most powerful ways to communicate. Don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to pause after your opener. I can do it really cheap. Wait for them to say something. How much? We're not interested. We already have a company. They're going to give you 1 of 3 responses typically. And the manual, the next part of the manual right after this teaches you how to get past any of those 3. Don't be afraid to pause. Kind of in closing, I want you guys to get with a recruiter or whoever brought you here or anybody that you trust and go over any other questions that you guys have about like how rent works, how housing works, how pay periods work, what you need to show up for the summer. Anything like that, those questions are going to pop up regularly. And if you don't ask them, you'll just assume a lot of times. I know for me, I sometimes assume the worst. Just don't be afraid to ask. We have the whole system set up. Everything works. So just come to us if you have any questions or concerns. We'd be super grateful to help you out. Who in this room is going on the cruise? Cool, most of us. Do you guys know what legal paperwork you need to get on the cruise? You either need a passport, is one option. And then the other option is your driver's license and your birth certificate. So you need either driver's license and birth certificate, or you need your passport to be able to get on the boat. If you don't have those, they will not let you in the boat.
That one's tough to get.
Yeah. No matter how well you talk, they're not letting you on. You have to have one of those. Just
Is there like an itinerary or something?
Absolutely.
there is, but you probably they like mass do it, so I don't even know if like we'll get it sent.
Okay.
The ship leaves the dock at 4. You got to be boarded by 3. It's at the Long Beach port, and if you type in Apple Maps like Carnival Long Beach, Carnival's our cruise line. There's only one port in Long Beach. It'll take you to it, and you could park there. And you got to be boarded by 3. Do not be after 3. You'll miss the boat, and it's not that fun to sit in LA.
And like if you are flying there, make sure your flight gets there like early in the morning because you can hop on the boat earlier than 3. I think
you can
they
hop on
start
as
at
early.
12.
Yeah,
12.
sometimes earlier.
No,
even.
I'm pretty sure it's 11, but Tom wants to know that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and guys, as soon as you get on, you can start eating food and stuff. So might as well hop on the boat as early as possible. Start walking around. Make sure your bags get checked in, everything like that. If you guys if you haven't been on a cruise before, it can be confusing. So Wes and I have been on plenty of cruises, and there's just a couple other guys in the room. But if you have questions, definitely come to one of us because we've been on a couple. We know what we're kind of talking about sometimes. So absolutely ask questions about that stuff so you're not left in the dark. Parking does take some money. So if you're driving with guys, make sure to let them know that's to bring money for parking and stuff. Should be maybe $15 each or something like that. It's kind of spendy.
Or if you drive and you stay in a hotel the night before, generally they will have week-long parking that they'll supply or like cruise parking, which
again, yeah, look at the hotel.
Look
Call
at
the
those things.
hotel that you're staying at, whatever it is, right? So if you're driving up the whole 12 hours before the cruise, best of luck.
Go the day before and stay in a hotel, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what's up?
Does it have to be your birth certificate, or can it be like your social security card?
It has to be the birth certificate. If your parents have it, probably. Just
if they don't, you'd still have time to file to get it in time. but you would probably like have to start. I think it takes like 6 weeks to get it.
Yeah, I was just wondering because like I don't know, like to carry around that big.
Yeah, that always is the hassle and stuff. What I always do is I'll put it in my backpack because you can bring a backpack and I keep my important stuff in the backpack. My clothes are in the suitcase and stuff. So, because it is your birth certificate, it's pretty damn important to have. So,
Yeah.
there's that. Yeah, what's up?
So we're not doing that Airbnb, anything like that, like a day
No.
two before.
No preseasons, just because we figured don't mix work with fun. We're just going to have a killer time out there. So last year, people got a little nervous sometimes when they're like, oh man, knocking doors, it's January or whatever it is, right? So this time we're just going to head out there, have a killer time on the cruise ship, meet some of the guys. Like literally probably most of the guys you see that are like our age are going to be Vantage dudes. So don't be shy around anyone.
We saw the boat was Vantage last year. I know it was an insane amount.
I think it was like above 65%.
Most of the hot ladies you'll see are Vantage wives, so it just shows.
Sorry,
you
it's a
know,
bunch of dudes.
if you work hard, you're gonna get a pretty wife. So
Not everyone's Preston and walks away with a wife.
When you get off the cruise, you can get off as early as 7 a.m. on the last day. It'll be docked probably around like midnight or something, 3 a.m. I'm not sure. But you can get off as early as 7. So, like, if you're booking a flight out of LA when you leave, the earliest you'd probably want to book for would be like around noon, because you got to get to LAX about an hour to an hour and a half early to be safe. It's so
And
crazy
to drive to Long Beach from LAX.
It's like a 35-minute drive from.
Like an Uber or something.
Yeah. So keep a couple of those things in mind. Ask us questions about any details that you need.
Does anyone like, who knows how they're getting there right now? Like for sure they know how they're getting to LA, what's going on. Okay. So most of the first years, all right, you are the guys that need to ask us questions and stuff like that, because it's coming up. So by all means, like if you don't know, we're going to try to set you guys up with a carpool. Something's going to happen. Or if if you got to buy flights, let's do that. Let's get that done before prices freaking get up there. So absolutely. Any questions on that stuff? Anything else? I'm pumped for the cruise, guys. It's so fun. Damn it, Justin.
So we're gonna have like fancy dinners. So bring like a nice tie or
Absolutely.
Just on the tub.
Just a nice tie.
Yeah, just a nice tie. You just wear it around your forehead. Yeah. So bring like a tie and like a dress shirt, maybe something like that. Just because there is one fancy night and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Like, I don't know if they won't let you in, but I mean,
They'll let you in, but you'll
be frowned upon. Just kidding.
Okay.
You'll have to dance in front of the entire cruise ship. We'll do that anyways, though.
and you'll want to be at it because it's like the dinner where they serve filet mignon, like the nice stuff, roast duck, like good stuff.
Roast beef.
I'm so hyped.
Anything you eat on the cruise is free.
Bring some money for excursions too. Like when you get to the islands or whatever. Catalina, there's not too much to do or anything. You rent a golf cart, mob around the island and stuff. You can go snorkeling for like $10, I swear. Throw some food into the water and there's a bunch of big fish that come eat it and stuff. So you can just go attack fish. And then Ensenada, there's the Ensenada blowhole. And then
Mexico.
it's John's favorite. And then AT being on the beach, whatever. It's Mexico, so there's no rules.
Yeah. It's actually really tight.
ATV on the beach and the mountains.
Dude,
on the
ATVing
roads.
in Mexico is like my favorite thing.
That was so much
Absolutely,
fun, man.
dude. That is 100% what I'm doing all day. Just ripping on it. Sweet, guys. Any more questions?
Did you want to go over those? Or as a group? Or?
I guess so. So like the one other thing I always like to cover, just to remind you, for each friend you bring out, you get a 2% pay bump. So that's 2% extra you make on your own sales. So if you only service 100, that'll be an extra $1,000 that you'll get paid for bringing out a buddy and you get paid on your back end. If you do 200, it's an extra $2,000 to get paid out on your back ends. All you need to do is provide your manager with the dude's phone number and let your friend know that he's going to be calling him. Like, you don't have to take them through the recruit process. You don't have to actually like sign them. Just bring them in, get them interested, and give us a phone number even is all you have to do. We'll give them a call, get them hopped on if we think they're a good fit, and a lot of free money. It's like literally like the easiest money you'll ever make. Like $2,000 to talk to one of your friends.
So worth it. It's not just about the 2% or anything like that. It's having your buddy out there by your side. It's having a roommate that you know. It's having that guy when he gets 3 sales, you're gonna go get 4 just because his ass got 3, right? So it's so much more than the extra 2%. But yeah, that 2% is really, really nice. Absolutely. Focus 5. If you have 5 dudes, give it to your guy that you've been talking with, doing trainings with. If you don't know who that is, ask Wesera, and we'll let you know who your guy to talk to is, because you don't want to miss out on that money for sure. The homework. Memorize that opener. A lot of you guys have it. I heard most of you guys say it, and it's basically there. It's down. And then the first 2 chapters of the manual, so that's talking about those bugs. Make sure you guys are asking your managers what bugs are going to be in LA. Ants, spiders, cockroaches, fleas, and rats. Those are the main ones there. And then going into smoke screens and that pre-impression, stuff like that. So first 2 chapters, I think up to like page 28 or something like that. So that's kind of the homework. By next meeting, Wes, do we have like an estimated date?
Next week, next Wednesday. We're gonna do another group training next Wednesday, and then that'll be basically the last one until after the cruise.
And then we'll, yes, same time.
Yeah, same time.
So this time next week. Sweet. Any questions? Anything at all? Sales, cruise, recruiting? Sweet. Awesome. You guys can play some ping pong, and you guys can head out.
Appreciate it.
So,
It's 4-9 it up.
That means I can talk to you.
Of course, it's so much fun. Nice to meet you guys. So go to Safari. You go to whatever the hell first. Do Vantage Marketing. Training. Oh, shoot. Yeah, that popped up. You already know that?